What's going on, everyone? So, per the Los Angeles Times, teams have inquired the Indiana Pacers about Bennedict Mathurin. Lakers are one of those teams. If the Lakers have any shot at getting Mathurin, you have to go get Mathurin. In a perfect world, you would get Mathurin and a Myles Turner. I would give up whatever I had to give up to get those two. I would even trade Dalton Connect in order to go get Mathurin. Mathurin's 22 years old and is already a 17-point-a-game guy who can be an absolute bucket getter. A lot of the issues that the Pacers are having is they're going to have to start paying some of these guys, right? And you already have Pascal Siakam and Tyrese Halliburton making $50 million a year, right? Like they need to. That's why the whole Myles Turner situation is an absolute mess. Before I dive into this further, and we'll break down Mathurin and all that stuff, there was an article that came out from Mark Stein diving into Myles Turner, and a lot of people are taking that and going, that's it. Lakers are out on Myles Turner. Not at all. On the contrary, it's not what it says, right? It says that the Indiana Pacers don't want to trade Myles Turner, but they might not have a choice, right? Again, everybody knows, including the Lakers, everybody knows that they don't want to trade Myles Turner. If they had their way, they would not trade Myles Turner. They might have to trade Myles Turner. Now, they don't have to necessarily trade him this year, because chances are, even if he goes into free agency, unless he wants to go to a bad team, right, you're probably working out a sign and trade. So that doesn't mean that they'll trade him this trade deadline. But the whole reason this conversation is even a thing, which I've maintained, Myles Turner isn't technically, we haven't gotten that, we've gotten all these reports from all these other players where it's this guy is available, they are actively shopping him. We have not gotten that about Myles Turner, right? All of the talks have been that essentially they don't want to, but they might not have a choice. They might have to trade him, right? Because again, they have to pay these guys. And Myles Turner wants $30+ million, and the Indiana Pacers aren't in a position to do that. The Indiana Pacers aren't in a position to pay out $30 million to Myles Turner, pay Mathurin, and pay all these other guys, right? They're going to have to start making some tough decisions. And also, supposedly, in that same article, it says that they would trade him, but they want to get a caliber style center as well, which is why you hear a lot of the reports are about, a three-team trade, right? Like Robert Williams going to Indiana, or, Nikola Vucevic going to Indiana, right? These three-team deals where they're getting a center to kind of supplement, because Thomas Bryant, they can't have as their only center, and they've been dealing with center injury issues all season long. So they want a center plus assets. But to get back on track to Bennedict Mathurin, I just wanted to add that to this video instead of making a whole video about Myles Turner again. And I just had, a minute of just information. So getting back to Bennedict Mathurin, right? He's a guy that you could trade independently, right? I really like, and I've talked about this before, I really like the idea of going after some of these younger guys, right? Can you go, but proven young guys, right? An Ayo. I've talked about Ayo Dosunmu, right? Can you go get him? Right? He's making $7 million. Say you have to give up a first for him, fine. So be it. Right? Can you go get a Bennedict Mathurin? Right? Again, another guy making $7 million. You have to give up. If you told me you gave up a first and 2 seconds for Nikola Vucevic and Ayo, right? And then gave up a first and whatever else for a Bennedict Mathurin and maybe another small piece, TJ McConnell or something like that. Perfect, right? Because you got two young guys and you got two veteran experienced guys that all fill needs, all fill holes, and can all help kind of solve the Lakers' issues. And you did that all for $40 million in tradable salary, right? Perfect. You still keep Vando, you still keep Reeves, you still keep Max Christie, you still keep all your guys. And now you got Bennedict Mathurin and Ayo. I mean, that could literally be your your back court for the next 20 years, right? You'd be a great shape. One guy, and Ayo is 24, and Mathurin's 22. Perfect. But sticking to this thing. So again, this year he's making $7.2 million, and then next year he makes $9.1 million, and then he becomes a restricted free agent. Again, reason teams are interested in Mathurin is a lot of the same ideas behind Myles Turner, is that they're going to have to pay him at some point. And it's again, they don't necessarily have to trade him yet. They don't have to trade him this trade deadline. But there's a lot of talks that they might end up moving him at some point rather than paying him. He's going to make $9 million next year, and then, it's like, okay, well, now he's going to make, 15, 20, 25 million coming up. Like, how much is he going to get paid? Or, he's a restricted free agent, so some other team's going to swoop in and sign him to a deal more than what we're willing to do, right? And now we lost him for nothing. So if they can get some assets out of some of these guys, right, then that's kind of what it looks like they're interested in doing. But like I mentioned, what does he do? What does he give us? Well, Bennedict Mathurin, again, 22 years old, 6'5", versatile guard, handle the ball a little bit, right? I don't think you'd want him as like your playmaker, right? He's a guy that can make the occasional play, but he's more of a bucket getter, right? He's more of the guy you give the ball to and you get out the way. He would be perfect off the bench in that 6-man role for the Lakers of just like, hey, when you're in the game, you got the green light, just go get buckets for us, right? And I really like the idea of that. Obviously, he can grow and progress. But this year, 44 games, 32 minutes per game. He's getting 12.4 field goal attempts per game. He's shooting 47.1% from the floor. 3-point range. On 4.3 attempts, he's shooting 36.4% from 3-point range. From 2-point range, he's shooting 52.7% on 8.1 attempts, which, by the way, all of those are up percentage-wise. 3-point percentage last year, he shot 37%, but it was on one fewer attempt. So he's roughly the same there. He has an EFG this year of 53.3%, which is, again, highest of his career thus far, shooting 82.1% from the foul line on just a hair under 4 attempts per game. He's averaging 6 rebounds as a 6'5 guard. 6 rebounds. 5.9. He's a better rebounder than Rui Hachimura, right? 5.9 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, half a block, and 16.4 points per game. So he's basically a 16, 6, and 2 guy that can rebound well, slot in as your 2, your 3. He's a guy that I do think, again, makes a ton of sense for the Lakers. Perfect world, you get Myles Turner and you get Bennedict Mathurin. And if the Lakers could, like, if you told me Lakers gave up both first, say 2 pick swaps and Dalton Connect and landed Bennedict Mathurin and Myles Turner, I would be jumping up and down for joy. And you might think, Tyler, that is a lot for Myles Turner and Bennedict Mathurin. But again, you're talking about a 22-year-old who's already averaging 16 points a game as like the 7th option on Indiana, right? And you're talking about getting the center that makes the most sense that you have for the next 6 years. You'd have both of these guys for the next 6+ years, literally, right? So by the time those picks are ready to be conveyed, you would have both of these guys probably still on your roster, literally, right? Like, so again, if you can, your hope with those picks is to find a guy like Bennedict Mathurin. So you'd get that guy already that you can grow and build with this team post the LeBron and Anthony Davis era. He's still going to be cheap, still going to be $9 million next year. You pair that. You also get a Myles Turner who, yes, he's going to be needing a new contract, but now you got him. I mean, literally, like in the post LeBron era, right? Like 2 years from now, whatever. If Reeves stays, then you could go Reeves, Mathurin, Vando, so on and so forth. But even post that, in a post era, you could have something like, especially if you get an Io, you have Io. But let's just say like you'd have like guys like Max Christie, Mathurin, right, Dalton Connect, right? Like you're starting to put together nice little young pieces that could really make a difference for this Lakers team, right? Obviously, you need to get a young center. You need to get a couple young forwards, but maybe a young point guard, which is why I want to go get Io. Because imagine if you had Io, Max Christie, Bennedict Mathurin as like your 3 with like Dalton Connect as like your shooter and scorer off the bench. Whew. Talk about a good like nucleus of players. But nonetheless, right? Like I really like the idea of Mathurin, and if he really is available, again, none of these guys are like truly available. None of these guys are truly like Indiana's just kind of fielding. They're listening, right? They're just like, hey, we'll listen. We'll have this conversation. Doesn't mean that they're going to trade them. Again, yes, they probably need to trade these guys, but they don't have to do it yet, right? In the case of Bennedict Mathurin, they have a whole nother year before they have to worry about that and his contract. And then even with Myles Turner, like I mentioned, they'll still be able to sign and trade him in the offseason, right? Like Lakers, whatever the Lakers are offering right now, will probably still be there in the offseason. Now, Lakers wouldn't have to give up multiple firsts at that point, right? Because it's like, hey, Myles Turner has all the say. Because he could just be like, I don't want to go to that team, right? Like, no, I won't sign a new contract with them, right? And then, Lakers could just be like, hey, we'll give you seconds, right? And just facilitate the deal. But they'd still probably get something. It's just, is it worth, if you're Indiana? See, if you're Indiana, you have to ask yourself, are we giving him the extension? One. If the question is, I don't know, trade him, right? Because, again, you're risking losing him on an I don't know, right? You either want to keep him and pay him the $30 million that he wants, or you don't. If you even have a thought that you don't, trade him. Even if it's not to the Lakers, trade him to somebody else, right? Warriors, whoever, right? Obviously, I'm a Laker fan, Laker channel. I want him on the Lakers, but remove the Lakers for a moment just to show the unbiasedness, right? If the Warriors want him, trade him to the Warriors and get some pieces if you can, right? Like, it's better than losing him for nothing. And then in the offseason, you're not going to get a bunch of firsts and everything. Supposedly, Lakers are interested in, will give up at least a first for him. They're just mulling over, do they want to give up both firsts? If you even have a thought about him not being on this roster in a year, then trade him. The other alternative, the other question I think you have to ask if you're Indiana is, do we believe we can win a championship this year? And if the answer is no, right, or I don't know, maybe, then trade him. Because again, at default, like if you truly believe you have a shot to win the championship this year, like a very reasonable, validable, like, yes, I think we have an opportunity to win the championship, come out of the Eastern Conference and win. Then again, like, keep him, right? Because then even like if you win the championship, then you can justify if he walks or whatever. It's like, hey, at least we got a reign out of it. Also, you win a championship, that might entice him to stay to run it back, right? Or might incentivize you to pay him. Outside of that, trade him. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, and I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel with your thoughts? Do you agree? Do you think go get Bennedict Mathurin? Go get Myles Turner? You okay with just one of them? No. Again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are. Either way, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. It's me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.